Hey there folks, Peppermarine81 here, and as you can see I've got a gun review for you today. This is on the Taurus Millennium series. This is their PT-145 Pro. This is a subcompact 45 ACP carry gun. This is something that I picked up here recently, and unfortunately if you do like this firearm you might have some trouble finding it because it is no longer in production or being imported from Taurus. Now, I don't really know why they discontinued this. They do still offer this in 9mm and 40 Smith & Wesson on their website, but it is a newer generation. This is an older one. So this particular model you might have quite a bit of trouble finding, honestly. I know that they were pretty popular when they were producing these, so I don't really know how many of them are floating around out there. But overall impressions so far, I'll tell you that I do like the firearm. There are some things that I don't really care for about it, and then some other features that I really enjoy having in a 45 ACP carry gun in this size. Let's go over a little bit of the firearm itself. It is fairly lightweight for a 45, coming in at about 22 ounces. Now that is empty, and as you well know, if you're carrying around those 230 grain slugs, once you load up 11 of those, that's going to add a little bit of heft to this. I did not put it on the scale after it was loaded, so I'm not really sure what it weighs in fully loaded. But empty, it is fairly light, and a lot of that obviously is due to the polymer frame. One thing I don't really care for is it does have kind of a high bore axis, and that's a really pet peeve of mine. It's not terrible, but it is a little high. It does sit a little bit high, as you can see here. I'll show you. And the sights there, one thing I'm probably going to change, this does have, and I always mispronounce this, it's Hiney Sights, I believe it's how you pronounce it. You probably can't pick that up in the frame there. There you go, you can kind of see that. I know that these are quality sights, and they've got a lot of following and a good reputation and everything. But this sight picture, I don't really care for the straight dot on dot like that. If anything, if I don't completely change out the sights to something like night sights, I might just put something that's a little bit more high vis on the front dot, so it's not white on white. I don't really care for that. If it was something that was maybe a little bit more different in the back sight, like say like on a Glock, we have more of a bracket on a dot. I like that a little bit better. This is just, for me personally, this is a little bit more difficult for me to quickly acquire a target, especially with that being white as well. Enough about that. The action on this, they want to classify it as a double to single action. I don't really think it is. Now, I don't know if they're talking about the newer version, the Gen 2, because if you'll notice, if you go to their website and you look at it, because I haven't seen one in person, but right off the bat you notice that instead of this regular trigger, you'll see that it has a paddle in the middle of it. It's kind of like a Glock. And they're saying that those Gen 2s are double to single action, where after you have that first long, heavy double action pull, there's a quick reset, and then you have single action after that. And this does not do that. And probably the biggest gripe that I have about this firearm is the trigger. It's quite frankly, it's awful. It has an enormous. Now I know that this is a carry pistol, and a lot of carry pistols have this. But I think they could have done a lot better on the trigger on this firearm. It has a very long, very gritty, stagey trigger. There's no real discernible, wall before it breaks. And then the reset is not. I mean, it's okay, but it's not that great. That's probably the biggest complaint that I have about this firearm. But I mean, honestly, aside from that, I don't really have anything to complain about. The checkering job that they've done on the back strap in the front here are excellent. It might be a little bit too aggressive for some people, but I like that. When you get your hand in there, it really locks in. You really feel like you've got a really good control of the firearm. And as you can see here, when you do have the magazine in, it does come flush. So with my hands and most people's hands, if they've got somewhat larger hands, it's somewhere for your pinky to go. So they did at least make the frame large enough to where you don't feel like you don't have a hold of the firearm at all. Let's see what else. Gone over the trigger, the sights, the action. It does have a manual safety. See what else we got here. It does have their, I don't remember what they call this. It was something like SST or something like that. It's basically a safety feature where you have this little key to where you can turn that and it completely disables the firearm. So if you don't have to worry about, if you have kids or something like that, and say you don't, for some reason you don't have a gun safe or whatever, it's just an added measure of safety on that. External extractor, this doubles as a loaded chamber indicator. You can't really see there, but when you do have one in there, this pops out. You can see a little bit of red on the side, so if you are curious, you don't have to do a press check. You can just cock it to the side a little bit and you can tell if you're hot. Recoil management on it is fairly soft. This is a very small pistol, as you can see, and you are dealing with 45 ACP, so it is a little snappy, but it's manageable, it's doable. If you do your part, your follow-up shots, are a little bit difficult to stay, real tight, but if you do your part, it's a pretty accurate firearm for the size. Not too bad at all. Let's see, what else have I not covered? Disassembly is fairly easily accomplished. Basically, all you have to do is, I'm not going to do it here, I'll just explain it real quick. Just lock the slide back, this pin, rotate down to the 6 o'clock position, pull the pin out, the slide comes off of the frame. That's it. Real easy. Let me see what else we got here. The magazine release is easily actuated. It's far enough back and large enough to where I can access it with my thumb, and sometimes I have problems with that because my thumbs aren't exactly that long, but it's not obtrusive, as you can see here. It doesn't come out off the frame, so it's not something that's going to snag. That was thought out. You'll notice that also all the controls on the firearm have been kind of like rounded off the shape that they made, so that way there's nothing that will drag or snag as you're having to draw this from, say, inside the waistband. What else we got? Captured recoil spring. One little thing is the recoil spring on this is quite stiff. So if you have someone who, say, maybe a female or a younger person, or you say you're someone who just doesn't really have a whole lot of like hand strength, you might have a little bit of difficulty racking this. Now, obviously, that doesn't, to me or to you, just on camera, doesn't really seem like it's that difficult. But I'm used to doing this kind of stuff. But it is quite stiff, so just forewarned. A little bit of information there also. Tilt barrel design, as you can tell. I think that's about it, really. Price, now, seeing as you can't get these new anymore, they were retail anywhere from like $4.50 to $5 on the higher end. I don't know what you'd end up paying for them if you did find another one from somewhere. Probably somewhere close to that, seeing as they don't even make them anymore. But they do come in this configuration, and then also just blued slide as well. And I have seen some that have like a coyote tan frame on it as well. I don't know if that was per manufacturer or someone had just Cerakoted or Duracoated the bottom, but I have seen those also. All right, well, I think I covered pretty much everything. If you have any kind of questions or anything, let me know. I'm sure there might have been something that I missed. Oh, now that I say that, reliability, I'll touch on that real quick because I don't think I said anything about it. No issues whatsoever. Ran aluminum case, steel cased, hand loads, nothing malfunction in it. Completely reliable. So good to go in that department. But anyway, thanks for watching, folks, and have a good day. Purple Rain 81 out.